Yo, what is up, B2? YP Gang with P Nation, YP Boxing, IBP MMA. Coming at y'all with a video talking about the recent fight news that just came out. Gervonta Tank Davis taking on Jake Paul. Jake, I don't know what's his nickname? Jake, the problem child Paul. So, gonna be talking about that. It's definitely something I didn't expect. I thought if I was gonna come back, I thought it was big enough news to come back and make a video. Like I always say, I want to be more consistent, but it just never happens. So I'm gonna just stop saying that. But yeah, we got this is some like crazy news. I know y'all don't hear it in my voice. Like it's more than where I'm at, but it's insane news. I don't really know. I can't say I'm surprised. Like I did think that Tank would, like, at least his mindset, with the whole, he did get arrested for, it looks like a domestic violence case or like sexual assault, something like that, with his the mother of his child. So it seemed like, he was just in a bad mental state. I know people around him were covering for him, his coach, the people that are, all around him that spend time with him in camp. They're like, this rematch is going to happen. But you hear the contrary on Roach's Twitch. Lamar Roach, I think he streams. He's talking about the fight all the time. Milking the situation as much as he can. He's like, this Tank fight's not going to happen, man, all this type of stuff. So watching the fight, talking about the knockdown, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it just seemed like from every corner, pundits, everybody was saying. I saw Timothy Bradley. Obviously, these people don't know. They don't know what Tank knows and Tank's people know. So you gotta take it with a grain of salt. But the growing opinion was that Tank's done with the sport. He's looking for a one more payday, or he might just outright retire. So it's one of them ones. But him fighting Jake Paul, I think that was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think he would go that route. But I guess, I don't know, if you're looking for a big payday, I don't know what else it would have been, because he definitely wouldn't fight Haney or a Shakur or Tio. You know what I mean? So you look for lucrative fights that are, out there that are, like, I guess Pacquiao maybe is the name, but I don't know how. Yeah, I guess the Pacquiao probably would have been the name, but even that. I think Jake Paul, it's an exhibition. It's a big name. The guys, the fight's so stupid though. I don't even know what can you even expect out of that. Like, this is the weirdest pairing I think I've ever seen, because you have a 135 pounder, you have a 200 pounder. We were in talks. I think, like, when we talk about Jake Paul, we're talking about him fighting heavyweights. We're talking about him fighting Wilder. At least me. We're talking about him fighting Joshua. That was, at least from what I heard, was in some pretty advanced talks from Coppinger, but that fell through. So, but we do know that prior to, the plan was for him to beat Roach and then to fight Paul. That was the initial plan, but then the draw happened and then the rematch. But again, I mean, when that fight happened, I was like, there's no way. That's why I wish Roach would have outright won, because that draw, like, it gave leeway to Tank. Tank didn't have to, come back and avenge it. I don't even think he would have avenged it. But again, I mean, I've heard people on the internet say, like, oh, we don't even care about this rematch, man. He needs to move on to bigger and better. Like, I don't think that's even true at all. I thought that was a very competitive fight. I think it's a fight that, like, a lot of fans will want to see. I think many fans are very interested in, like, Roach's style now. They want to see. We saw some different stuff out of Tank in that fight. We saw more box, so we want to see him in that type of style fight again. To say that the dust wore off and that's just an irrelevant fight, I think is stupid. It's definitely more relevant than a Jake Paul fight. But what we can say about the Jake Paul fight, it's going to be huge. It's going to be, a very big event. From what I know, it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be for everybody to see. I don't know if it's going to pull more than the Tyson, because Tyson has some, like, crazy pull. And it's just such a circus show, Like, it's, people are making comparisons to, like, Floyd and Logan, but the difference is, like, Tank, first of all, Floyd is like a boxer, like actually a boxer. Like, that's his style, very good skill on the feet, very defensively responsible, going against Logan, who at that time wasn't that, he was just an athletic, muscular white guy, but, you saw the boxing skill wasn't really there. I think that was post KSI, so you even saw in that fight, just not the most seasoned, and you saw he didn't really know how to put punches together. a lot of weighing shots, just kind of relying on his athleticism. Here you have a fight where, and I'm saying all this like treating it like it's an actual fight. I don't know how Jake Paul's gonna approach this fight, because if you remember Jake Paul in the Mike Tyson fight, Jake Paul opted to take it easy on Mike Tyson, which I think is so crazy to admit. I mean, maybe it's not that crazy to admit because it's like Mike Tyson and he's an older guy. But yeah, he in the post-fight press conference, he's sitting there saying, oh, I opted to, like, could you imagine a WNBA player saying, or like an NBA player saying, like, man, like, we were whooping on them, like, I had 19 points, like, I ain't want to keep, like, that's not in the nature of any sport, really, but especially not fighting, like, you go out there, you go for the kill, like, you don't take mercy on anybody. But I can see how in that specific scenario, maybe it makes sense. But yeah, just openly admitting to cruising and carrying Tyson to the end, maybe it's an exception for that one, but yeah, you literally saw it. I mean, Jake Paul could have easily taken out Mike Tyson, and he just kind of just cruised, just jabbed him up a little bit. So as I'm analyzing the fight, I don't even know how serious can you even take this. How serious is this a fight announcement at all? Like, this just seems out of whack. Even more out of whack than Mayweather and Logan, because Mayweather had at least done these exhibitions before. He was past his career, and Logan wasn't like too much of a threat, like as far as like skill wise. But Jake Paul is a legitimate threat, whether you like it or not. Like, he's actually trained boxing for a decent bit. He's a way better. It's weird, yeah. Floyd is a way better boxer, even at his old age. Is a way better boxer, and defensively, offensively, at his old age than Tank is, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that Floyd would beat Tank, but I'm saying his capabilities, his skill, his awareness, his defense, like he would do a lot better in an exhibition like that. The footwork, all that type of stuff, than someone like Tank. But then on the contrary too, Floyd was fighting a way easier opponent in Logan Paul. Jake Paul is going to be way tougher. So I don't even know how. This fight made me like interested to see how, if there's any sport where you can negate a size difference, it is boxing, So we'll see. I mean, I know I'm analyzing this like it's an actual fight. I don't even know how serious it's gonna be. This is gonna be a sparring match. It's in November, so we're almost near September, October, November. So it's gonna be in 2 months. Jake Paul doesn't seem like the type of person to do that. I think if he had the opportunity to go out there and knock out Tank cold, even if it's like, because the alternative is you lose to a guy who's 135 pounds. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely a joke of a fight. But let's see if they treat it like it's a joke, because if they don't, I think we're in for a treat. I think there's just a lot of weird stuff going on though, because obviously, like how the Floyd fight and the Logan fight got sanctioned, that was I think, I don't know, that was a struggle just because the big weight disparity. So, but I think what made it okay was that Floyd was so much more experienced than Logan, so he could give up that weight. They were okay with that. But how do they treat Jake? Jake's a legitimate boxing pro at this point. So yeah, I mean, let's see it. I'm definitely gonna do more research on like fights with such big size disparities, big weight disparities, because I'm actually pretty interested as to how those fights go. But yeah, I mean, early prediction. Okay, I do predict this fight will happen. I do think Tank is cashing out. Tank wants as much money as he can before he could just ultimately retire. He's talked about this. He says he doesn't even like boxing. He wants to get to a place where, he can have a peaceful mind, just, spend time with his daughters and, get away from the toxic sport of boxing, in his words. So I completely believe him. Everyone's been saying it. I know Tank fans have been, like he's still come back, like blah, blah, blah. But, and people were faulting Lamont for trying to move on and fight somebody else. But like, no, I mean, Tank's done. And now we're seeing it. So I don't know how Tank fanboys are going to justify this. Obviously, this is YBP MMA is an unofficial I don't post a lot of Devin Haney because, I don't really post a lot at all. This started as an MMA channel, but Devin Haney has become, he's the front page of the channel. And we're going to be covering that Norman fight a little bit more. I'll try to post more content about that. I am extremely worried for Haney. I think he can pull it out, but that's a tough fight. That's besides the point, though. The take fanboys, they can't defend this. Like, this is nasty work. Like, this is your GOAT. Like, going out there fighting a clown show and Jake Paul, like, it's an absolute joke. I mean, they're just, all they can say at this point is that, hey, at least our fighter made the most money, like, which is cool. I mean, that's cool, I guess, if that's what you want to, like, rest your laurels on. But he never fought his rival. Like, he never fought Haney, he never fought T.O., never fought Shakur, being the oldest out of the bunch. So if this is how his career ends, it's pretty disappointing. Even if he were to go out there and knock out Jake Paul, it's like, cool, no one really cares. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I like in sports, in combat sports, any sport, I love spectacles. I love seeing weird stuff that hasn't been done before. I love it. It's just like, I just feel like I lived through something that will never be done before. But I think we live in this day and age where I think more of this type of stuff is going to happen. I am crossing my fingers and praying that we see Clarissa Shields on a Netflix pay-per-view against a man. I think we're like 5 fights away. I think Clarissa wins 5 more fights. She will be fighting a man in the ring. I don't know what man that will be. I think it will be Floyd. Bro, I'm telling you. And I talked about this I think 2 years ago. Clarissa Shields, Floyd Mayweather, pay-per-view, man versus woman, battle of the genders. Okay? You can even have her in headgear. I'm telling you. I love spectacle. So, part of this, the fan in me loves this, but also I do want to see Tank fighting the best of the best. So as a boxing fan too, I'm like, damn, this is what the sport's coming to. But I wish MMA would do shit like this sometimes too. It's cool. It brings more eyes to the sport. But again, you have to, with stuff like this, you also have to contrast it with actual fights. So it's not a good look to where a top 2 star in the sport is doing shit like this. But Canelo's also fighting Crawford, so it is what it is. Let's just hope that boxing can use this fuel, this attention that it's getting, to actually, drive some, bring more spotlight to guys like Shakur, guys like Haney, guys like T.O. It's still fuck T.O., but, and fuck Ryan, but, we can't deny his skill. But yeah, those guys, bring attention to prospects like Atama, Inoue, Bam, Ennis, all those people. So let's see it. I can't wait for that first press conference if it comes. I'm gonna be listening to the Boxing Boys, see what they got to say about it. But that's all I really got for y'all today. DHP Nation, shout out to the Paul people, shout out to the Tank fanboys. That's all I really got for y'all today. Leave a like and subscribe. Peace out, most guard. You know what it is.